Oh, hi. I'm Owlbear Rogue. Welcome to the cave. We are right on the verge of 400 subscribbles. Pew, 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 pew. We're going to do something really special to celebrate later this week. There's a poll up on the channel right now. If you want to weigh in on how we celebrate, check that out. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification button so you know anytime I post polls. There's lots of opportunities for you to give me feedback on the kind of things you want to see from the channel. Tonight, I've got 5 more homebrew magic items for you to steal. No, really, steal them! Impersonate a guard, crack the code, break into the vault, stuff these magic items in your bag, quick! Set off some bombs. Don't look behind you as you casually walk away from the explosions. And then, you know, use them in your game or something. As always, anytime a person posts homebrew content, there's the possibility that someone else has created something similar before. My promise to you is if I know I've borrowed an idea from somewhere, I will always give credit where it's due. Let's jump in. Number 1, the Shield of Bone Shards. The Shield of Bone Shards is pretty self-explanatory as far as its appearance. It's a rustic wood and metal shield, and the outside of it is covered in bone shards, sprinkled with necrotic energy, just a little bit here, a little bit there. This is great for a gnarly barbarian, a fighter with flexible morality, or a necromancer who's multi-classed into something that lets them use a shield. Goodness knows they need it. You can decide if you want this to be a +2 or a +3 to AC, but the fun part is, whenever an enemy makes a successful melee attack against you, they take 1d4 necrotic damage. My players love this shield. It makes you look like a badass, feel like a badass, and it wears down your enemies, even when they think they're succeeding. Number 2, a piece of amber with the soul of a young treant inside. Oh, this object is overflowing with roleplay potential and combat utility. I've been using it for years in my Fellrolled campaign, my homebrew setting. You can watch a video intro to that if you would like. In that world, the party is gifted this object by a treant named Alderspine. Treants have an area of a forest that they're in charge of protecting, a territory. When it's time for a baby treant to start looking for their territory, a trusted creature is chosen to be the bearer of one of these pieces of amber. That's the lore in my world, but you can put this item anywhere you like and make it work any way you want. When the piece of amber is touched to a tree, the soul of the young ent enters the tree. Mechanically, the tree now has the stats of an awakened tree. That's what I've decided, but again, you've got a lot of options. If your party has been building a relationship with the young treant, it may be willing to physically defend them in this form, which is very, very helpful in a fight. The baby can stay in tree form as long as the party wants, hanging out, chatting, learning, and growing. But when it becomes inconvenient, or in some cases impossible, to have a tree schlepping along beside them, the PCs can touch the amber to the tree again. I have them roll a d6. On a 5 or a 6, the baby decides it likes this tree, and this area could use a little pick-me-up. This is going to be its new territory. It wishes you well on your adventure and hopes you'll come back to visit someday. On a 1 through a 4, the soul simply re-enters the amber and can be placed in a different tree again in the future. If you have ever had a party adopt an NPC, you can imagine how adored this whole scenario is. I've had parties that tell the piece of amber bedtime stories and sing it songs, parties where it wound up staying in the very first tree they put it in, or it wound up sticking around for the entire campaign and being a big part of the final story. Are there parties out there who wouldn't be excited about being entrusted with the care of a baby treant? Maybe. But are they the kind of people playing my kind of game? Never. The Veil of True Affection is our third item. This is a magical bridal veil that was handed down for generations from mother to daughter and a wealthy, magically talented family. It was designed to ensure that none of the women would ever marry someone whose affections were false. never someone who simply wanted their money or who might even secretly wish them harm. When you put the veil over your head and look through the lace, those that have real love for you will glow. The brighter the glow, the bigger the love. Those with no love for you will have no glow, and those that wish you harm will be wreathed in darkness. The roleplay possibilities, the drama this object could inject into your campaign, it is nearly limitless. What are the real intentions of that NPC who's been hanging around, fawning over everyone in the party? Does that grumpy, curmudgeonly old shopkeep really secretly adore everyone? Who inside the party has a secret crush or maybe even secret animosity for another party member? I think this item is extra fun if it's found and the party doesn't know exactly what it does right away. They see glowing, maybe darkness coming from different PCs and NPCs, and they only find out after a little bit what that means. Spicy. Number 4, the Stake of Ruin. The Stake of Ruin appears to be a simple tent stake. But when this stake is driven into the ground, it makes any structure, a tent, a cabin, a small home, any structure in a 60-foot sphere, appear to be an abandoned ruin. The tent you're snuggled warmly inside with a cheerful fire going in front has the illusory appearance of a shredded, collapsed, unoccupied, dark ruin of a tent, thanks to the stake. The cabin you're inside, making stew and sitting by the hearth, has the illusory appearance of a rotting ruin, roof caved in, covered in moss or snow, depending on where you are, dark, devastated, empty. This item is gold for a party trying to hide in dangerous territory. It's not foolproof, of course. There are places where ruins wouldn't make any sense, where the people who know that area are like, that wasn't there before. Also, it is an illusion, and most games have mechanics for detecting an illusion. Physical interaction, detect magic, dispel magic, a high DC intelligence check. All these things could ruin the ruins if they're up against intelligent enemies. But it's a fun way to camouflage a camp in the right circumstances and against the right kind of dangers. Finally, number 5, the Sickle of Summer. This one is epic. This magic weapon is beautiful, and what makes it really special is that I have it level up with the PC who's bearing it. The sickle has a dazzling golden sheen. When you move it through the air, you hear the rustling of the wind over fields of ripe grain. When you look at it, the surface appears like a ray of sunlight is falling on it through the boughs of a tree, the shadows of leaves dancing across the metallic surface. It's pleasantly warm to the touch. In my world, this weapon once belonged to a champion of the Summer Queen, Titania, a godlike archfey. It's a +2 sickle when my players first find it. As the player bearing the sickle progresses and gains levels, they may start to be visited by visions of the Summer Queen. If those go well, the sickle may also begin to confer immunity to cold damage. Eventually, the queen may visit in their dreams and give a series of trials. If they succeed and choose to become a champion of the Summer Queen, the sickle will grant them 1 free casting of Sunbeam per day. When the PC reaches the final level you expect them to attain in your campaign, if they've been a faithful champion of the Queen, you could have the sickle confer the ability to summon the spirit of a summer Eladrin to fight beside them. You get to decide how many times they can do that, what level the Eladrin warrior they summon is. But all in all, it's a great way to make a player feel really special, throw in some great roleplay opportunities. You're a great DM. You got this. I trust you. There you have it, friends. A shield, a piece of amber, a bridal veil, a tent stake, and a champion's weapon. Literally anything can be a magic object with the right attitude. Hopefully you found a little something to add to your games. As always, if you wind up using one of these items or riffing off of it and making it even better, please tell us about it in the comments. I love hearing how you take the things I create and make them your own. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and vote on what kind of celebration video I'm going to be doing later this week. Of course, then tune back in Thursday evening to see whatever the video winds up being. Thank you once again for exploring the feminine urge to play Dungeons and Dragons with me, Owlbear Rogue.